Welcome to Brown Brothers Book Banter, the podcast where Kenneth and Kyle dive into the vibrant world of children's literature. Join us each week as we explore the enchanting realm of books featuring insightful interviews with renowned children's book authors, discussions on the latest title releases, and inspiring conversations with passionate librarians. Now, here are your hosts, Kenneth and Kyle Brown. So, Kenneth, I'm a little tired this evening. I had turkey. Had turkey today.
Oh yeah, happy Thanksgiving, Kyle.
Happy Thanksgiving. It is a little early.
Yes, a little early. It's only November 12th.
So here we are to film episode 7 of the Brown Brothers Book Banter. On today's program, we have Breanna Carzoo, author of Lou. We had a chance to film her a while back. She just lives in Austin. And so as I was going back and looking over her interview, having an author visit with her seems like it would be really, really fun. So make sure to listen to that. And if you're looking for an author visit for your littles, she would be a great option.
Well, also today we're talking about some new releases. And also in last week's newsletter, we put out a thing that had great tips and activities for motivating upper elementary and middle school readers. Somebody had asked us that question. I don't know if it was in a response in one of our newsletters or our prize giveaways, but we put it out there and we had a great response. We have such great library friends in Oklahoma, and we really appreciate them listening and supporting this, but also giving us the feedback whenever we ask for it.
This week, we're going to have some additional information in our newsletter. And what is that information on, Kenneth?
Well, again, we put it out there and asked for some help. And I think we're doing this about a week too late. Sorry, everybody. But we asked them what their favorite Thanksgiving library activities were and library read-alouds, and had great responses there too. So that will be in this week's newsletter. So if you don't get our newsletter, you can email us, brownbrothersbooks@gmail.com, and we can send you a copy of the newsletter, or we'll even, if you're in Oklahoma, we'll put you on our regular mailing list.
And you can always save all these ideas for next year. So
that's right. If we're too late, you've already done all your Thanksgiving stuff, then just put it in your file.
All right. So let's talk about new books, Kenneth. You've got some new books for us.
We'll start with one of our friends, Nathan Hale, who's been to Oklahoma. This is number 12 in his Nathan Hale's Hazardous Tales Above the Trenches. And it's about World War I and some pilots who were volunteers from America that went in and fought for France, but they became pilots and flew planes during World War I in the French Foreign Legion. Mary Amato, one of our favorites. She was on the Sequoia list a couple of times. Naked Mole Rat Letters and Snarf Attack. She has a series that's about kind of soccer in space. It's called Star Striker, The Final Goal. And it is about an interplanetary soccer tournament and an evil empire. We have a celebrity who has written a book. No matter what your politics are. This is Brett Baer has Duel Across Time. This is a new series called History Club, and it's about 4 friends who are in a history club at school, and they have a secret mission that comes up where they have to stop a villain whose plot is to destroy the past, forever altering the future. So that sounds pretty exciting, and it's a graphic novel for middle grades.
Very nice.
Seems like we have a lot of middle grade books this time. Another one, I think this one might be on the Sequoia next year if they have had a chance to see it. It's one of those kind of like some of the others we've seen in the past. Facing the Mountain. It's adapted from young readers. It's a true story of Japanese American heroes in World War II. It's had 3-starred reviews already. It's by Daniel James Brown, and it's for middle grades and upper, probably YA. And it's about, after the Japanese military bombed Pearl Harbor, Japanese Americans became the subject of racism and discrimination and other things like that. But even while this was happening, there were Japanese American soldiers fighting to ensure that Americans were safe. So it's a story that focuses on them. Something else that's kind of cool, Susan Cooper's Dark is Rising series is being reissued. So, the Gray King, Dark is Rising. Gray King won the Newbery, but all 5 books are coming out with new covers in hardcover. So if you need to refresh that series or some of the books in that, that might be a neat thing to do. Maybe try to get another generation of readers for that one. The Sky Over Rebecca is one. It's by Matthew Fox, not the actor. And another middle grade, but it has 2-starred reviews. And basically, on this one, it's about a 13-year-old Jewish girl and her younger brother, Samuel. And they're refugees from World War II, and they're trying to find their way home. But I think it kind of has a little bit of a time loop involved where multiple people from multiple times work together to help save each other. Now, here's a question. Do you know why a camel has a hump? Or why a zebra has stripes?
Is that a question for me? Because I don't know.
Or why do wombats have cube-shaped poop? Well, if you have some students that like Steve Jenkins stuff, he has a lower grade book out. Why do elephants have big ears? Questions and surprising answers about animals. That sounds like a fun book. Steve Jenkins books are very popular. Really cool stuff he puts out. Now, here's one with 5-starred reviews. Lower grade book, Tomfoolery. Randolph Caldecott and the Rambunctious Coming of Age of Children's Books. This is by Michelle Markle. It's kind of a biography about Randolph Caldecott, and it's supposed to be funny, and it's just supposed to be really just a really fun book that also talks about, his life and
No. Is this the Caldecott of which the award is named after?
This is the Caldecott. And the last one today with 2-starred reviews, What Rosa Brought by Jacob Sager Weinstein. And it's a lower grade book. Austria is the only home Rosa knows. And while her parents work at their store, she plays. But the Nazis arrive in 1938. Everything changes. And, they don't know what to do. They have to decide to leave the country. Where do they go? And what would Rosa be able to bring with her?
So one of the questions that you asked was how to get today's kids to read. And so
Yes.
we proposed the question to you all for what are you all doing to motivate your students to read? We talked about this in the introduction. We're talking about it now. So Kenneth, again, I hate to put this on you, but you were the one that compiled this list. So I'm going to let you kind of just quickly run through the list of these great ideas. And if I find anything that I can jump in with, I will. But otherwise, it's your time again, brother.
Restroom book talks was kind of interesting. They talked about placing book talks on the bathroom stalls. Like I can imagine like a poster on the back of it with a QR code or something or just it doesn't have to be in the bathroom. It could be on the walls of the library. It could be in the hallways. But book talks, posters with trailers, links to trailers or author book talks would be a great thing. You can do things like bingo with genres, formats, and Dewey. They have bingo cards that they need to fill out. You can do book clubs. Here's an interesting one, a Get Caught reading program. So at this one school, the students receive entry tickets anytime they're caught reading. So they could be in class, bus line, cafeteria, playground, wherever, and they get tickets. And several students win the drawing each week. And in this school, they get to go into a special read a book nook that has black lights and neon decorations. And they could do that on Flashlight Friday, and they get to read. And so that sounds fun. The prize doesn't have to be that, but there's lots of prizes. In fact, this page full of information was in last week's newsletter. And so if you haven't opened that up, make sure you do. It's got all this stuff. They talked about book tournaments, blind dating with books. And I've found out Teachers Pay Teachers is a great resource. I think I mentioned this in another podcast. My wife was a teacher. And I always saw these things on my credit card bill, Teachers Pay Teachers. And for, low amounts of money, you can get these great printables and things. So here's 6 things that were on Teachers Pay Teachers that are really great. A book tower challenge, a great genre challenge, a currently reading bulletin board, battle of the books, speed dating with books, and book tastings. So if you went on to Teachers Pay Teachers and you searched any of those things, book tower challenge, great genre challenge, currently reading bulletin board, battle of the books, speed dating with books, or book tasting, you would get some great ideas. Even if you don't buy the stuff, you can kind of see some preview pages and it might give you some great ideas. Now, if you go class to class, you can pop in, you can read the first few pages of a few books. You can also post a few pages of books, on a poster in your library, and kids can come by and read those. When you win prizes for these things, whatever activities you do, if there's prizes, you can give away free books, book fair coupons. You can have pizza, ice cream, board game, VR, movie, and dance parties. You can do reading time at a fun location, maybe outside, principal's office, reading nook. You can give trophies, medals, and certificates, or lunch in the library, or lunch with a teacher. So lots of different ideas to motivate students. If you have any other special ideas, send them to us, brownbrothersbooks@gmail.com, and we'd love to share those sometime with everyone.
So every year when we are doing Redbud selections, Kenneth, as some of you may not realize, Kenneth starts gathering the books and he already starts to select some of his favorites. And even though I tell him not to do it, he usually shows up to the meeting with one book that he has to put out there to let everybody know how much he loves this one book. Last year was Chester Van Chime, Forgot How to Rhyme. And this year, the book was called Lou by Breanna Carzoo. So I know when he got to interview Breanna Carzoo, or we both did, that he was very excited about that because we both ended up loving Lou. And I think everybody that has read Lou loves Lou because it's not just on the Redbud list. Kenneth, what else is it on?
It's on the Oklahoma Donna Norvell Award for Children. And that's a Children's Choice Award in Oklahoma. It used to be just librarians or teachers got to vote on it, but now it's open up to children. And I think there's how many, 4 or 5 books?
I think there's 4 or 5 books every year. So it's a little different. But if you're doing the Donna Norvell, you should try the Redbud. If you're doing the Donna Norvell, you should also reverse that, switch
Do
it.
them both.
Do them both was what I was trying to say here. Do both because they both are fantastic programs. It is time now to go and watch this interview with Breanna Carzoo. And again, she does author visits. She's just in Austin. So let us know if we can help with it. And we will be back right after this interview.
We would like to welcome a special guest today, Breanna Carzoo, the author of Lou. It's published by HarperCollins, and visiting us from Austin is Breanna Carzoo. Hello.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited and honored to be here.
Well, we're excited to have Lou as one of the books on the Redbud Read Aloud Master List for 2024, and we're really excited about the adventures that thousands of kids across the country will be able to experience.
I'm excited about that as well.
All right. Well, we noticed that you have a book, actually 2 books, that are going to be eligible for next year's Redbud. Before we get into Lou, let's talk about Greenlight. It was just released in the last couple months.
Yeah, I obviously love to champion our infrastructure in our environment and things that maybe we take for granted and don't notice. And I think, Greenlight's story is about shining her light. And as soon as she shines, all the cars race away. And I saw that happen in real life and I was like, oh, that's really sad. Like that would feel awful if you're showing, your purest essence to people and then they leave. And so she's really confused about why that happens and kind of has to figure out how to reconnect with what's great about her and understand that again. And yeah, similar to Lou, but a different storyline. And her life is different than Lou's.
That's a fantastic concept. I love that.
Thank you.
Yeah, discovering your abilities and, the fact that you're a superhero and things like that is really, a lot of, kids really need that. It really helps with the social emotional connections.
Absolutely.
Now, you may not be able to talk about your next one, but we do see something way out there on the horizon called the Squish.
Yes.
Are you excited about it? You don't. I know you probably can't talk about it, but
Oh, I absolutely can. And I'm
good.
so happy. So it comes out next May, and I'm so excited. It's about a little sandcastle who, after their very first squish, tries to build up bigger and taller and stronger, thinking like, "That's it. I'm gonna make it. I'll never get squished again." And obviously, that's not probably gonna work out for them. And so they've kind of got to figure out how to live in a world that sometimes can be a little dangerous and scary. So yeah, I'm super excited about that one. I did a little bit of actually used sand as well as recycled grocery bags to make the illustration. So I'm pretty excited to show that one next year.
That's awesome. We're excited about having both of those at our meetings next year. It'll be interesting to see which one our library friends think is more of a Redbud than the other. Because for the Redbuds, we want them to be fun, light. Kids wanting to not only just the kids running to the library on Redbud Day, but the librarians have to read these over and over to each class, and so we want them to have fun too. So
Absolutely,
it'd be fun to see which one of those make it next year.
Yeah, I'm curious. It'd be great.
So tell us a little bit about your journey. I know Lou is your debut picture book. So tell us a little bit about your journey to becoming a children's book author.
Yeah, I think I went to school for animation. So I've obviously always loved storytelling and being able to tell stories specifically for kids. And I think what's great about picture books is that I realized I get to create the whole world. I get to really define all of that. When you work in animation, you're a part of a really, really big team and you work on such a small piece of it. And so picture books felt like an opportunity to really get to tell a whole story. And it took many years for me to actually own that dream and say, you know what, I really actually want to do this. I want to start researching it and telling the world like, hey, I want to do this. So I ended up, starting to learn about it and pursue it and, started writing a totally different picture book. And then I went to a workshop once, left crying, thinking I'm never going to do this. It's never going to work out for me. And then I saw a peed on fire hydrant and wrote down underappreciated fire hydrant. And like, from there I was like, I have to write this book. Like, this is the book I'm going to write. And yeah, you all see how that worked out.
Oh, that's fantastic. What a great story. You never know when inspiration's going to hit you, do you?
No, absolutely not. And I'm so grateful for that moment because I think I had my own Lou moment in that, where it was like, I really didn't think that I could do it, or I didn't think I had something in me to be able to do it as well. So I think there was this moment where it was like, I get you, Lou. I understand. And so put that into the book.
Well, that's a common question that we have is do you see yourself in the book? And that you do. I mean, that's a perfect correlation. And
I'm very much glad that I'm not a fire hydrant, but I absolutely have felt like that. And I think we all have at some point where we've kind of wondered, who we are, or are we full of greatness, or how do other people see us? And I think it's, with Lou's story, it's really easy to be confused about what's great about us if the people around us aren't treating us as if we're great. And I think that's, a big struggle that Lou has, and a struggle that Greenlight have too. So
yeah.
So for other aspiring authors and illustrators, tell us a little bit about the process. Did you complete Lou and then send it off and then they accepted it? Tell us a little bit about that, if you don't mind.
Yeah, absolutely. So I had the whole book written out, and then I had a sketch version of the book. And then a few sample color art. And the biggest thing that actually changed between what I submitted to an agent and HarperCollins as a publisher and what it looks like now is actually the art style. I initially started out doing all digital art. And midway through the process, I was like, I really don't enjoy creating this way. Personal projects, I was always making cut paper collage. So I was like, I wonder if I could do this all in cut paper collage. So I kind of secretly made one of the spreads into cut paper. I pitched it to my publisher and was like, so what do you think about this? They loved it. And now I'm freely making cut paper art. So that was by far the biggest difference. But for the most part, the heart of the story and most of it all stayed intact with just a bit of tweaking here and there.
And I did see a video on YouTube that actually shows you creating Lou with that paper art, and it was amazing. So I hope all of our listeners out there will find that on YouTube and see just how Lou was created.
It's super fun. I really enjoy it.
With the Redbuds being all about reading aloud, do you have somebody or a few people that you read aloud to? And do you read it aloud to them over the phone or FaceTime or in person, or how's that work out?
Absolutely. I also read aloud to myself. Like I like sitting in my studio and just sitting with like a little sketched paper version and reading as if I was reading to a classroom and trying to anticipate like, what would their responses here be, or what would they be curious about or want to know more? And I very much also pay attention to like, do I laugh? Like, is it still funny to me, even though I've been reading this over and over? But I also definitely read aloud to my husband. And if he giggles, I'm like, okay, this probably worked well here as well as it could too. So absolutely. It's definitely part of the process. I mean, that's what picture books are supposed to be for, is reading aloud and sharing. And so thinking about how that is going to be, and page turns are really fun. All that's so important.
So do you have a favorite spread that if you are going to read it aloud to give people just a taste of Lou, do you have a favorite spread? And if you do, is that something that maybe you could share with us, possibly?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's funny. Let me see. Let's grab this. So this is my favorite spread, which surprises me, but I think I have to show what happens before it so that the spread really makes sense. It's this one. The dogs are getting ready to do kind of their routine. They sniff and twist and twirl and lift and, well, you know. And that's definitely my favorite spread. I think it's because you kind of know it's coming, but you don't really realize what you're going to see on that page. And you don't realize what Lou is going to say about it. Like, he's pretty embarrassed. He doesn't want to really admit. So it's just like, well, you know, I don't have to get into the details here about it. And so that's definitely my favorite. I think it's also because of the nostalgia of making it. Like, I make and cut paper, painting this big thing of yellow paper and then cutting it out and gluing this together. And I'm like, am I really doing this right now? Is this really what I'm making? That I think added to why it's so great to me.
How do the kids react when you read it to a group of kids?
It's so great. I think what's fun is when Greenlight released, I did a dual story time with both Lou and Greenlight. And it was so much fun reading the book to kids that know it as well, because they're anticipating this page. They know it's about to happen, and yet still it's really, really funny. Both adults and kids laugh. I think especially adult readers, make sure to take the time to look at what's happening on the pages, because Lou is a fire hydrant bolted to the sidewalk. He can't see what's happening behind him. What's great as readers is that we can see what's happening behind him. And the interesting part of Lou telling his story and how much he has no idea what's going on behind him is so important. So really engaging readers to ask him, like, do you think Lou's right about this? Or what do you think is happening back there? I think it's also great to highlight that there might be a cat in the story, not just dogs, and to pay attention to what that cat is up to, because it's a pretty big part of the story. And I think it's great. It's kind of funny to me how many adult readers have been like, I didn't notice that. And I think it's great to really like pay attention and look and spend time on those pages to really identify, like, Lou is saying all these things, but might really be missing a huge part of his life. And I think what I love about that too is that happens to all of us. We get so caught up in our own head that sometimes we don't realize what's happening around us. And we sometimes only pay attention to what we want to pay attention to in that moment. So if we're feeling down, maybe we're only paying attention to those parts of the world instead of realizing, oh, wait, there are people who think there's greatness in me. And I think that I love that too about it, is really inviting people to pay attention to the world beyond Lou's thoughts.
No matter how much I love one of these Redbuds, I always find myself figuring something out way after I should have. Literally this morning, I put the correlation of LOU to LOO. And I've read this book like 6 times.
Yep. It's amazing because I've also heard kids call it as the fancy word for toilet, which makes me laugh. But yeah, I remember the day I was like, okay, if this fire hydrant had a name, what would it be? And I was like looking up all the other possible words for toilet to try to come up with something. And I was like, all right, his name is Lou. It's got to be Lou. But yeah, a lot of people don't notice that.
Well, I think after seeing this, there's going to be a lot of librarians that might be interested in school visits, considering that you're just in Austin, Texas. Can you tell us a little bit about school visits, if you offer them in person, virtually, what your schedule is like these days?
Yeah, absolutely. I do in-person and virtual school visits. So both options, single sessions and full day. And I'm doing 3 different programs right now. One is from idea to book, so learning the journey from actually making Lou and some of the behind the scenes on that. Another one is creating irresistible inanimate object characters. So really talking about how to add the humanity into inanimate object characters. And then a third one is a self-esteem story time. So really thinking about how other characters treat that character and how it changes how they feel about themselves. So those are kind of the 3 programs I'm offering for school visits, and pretty available right now to talk about booking. So would love to hear from people.
And they just go to your website. Is it
Absolutely
just your name, right?
Yep, BreannaCarzoo.com.
Okay. Well, again, this has been a wonderful time with Breanna Carzoo, the author of Lou and Greenlight, and coming soon, The Squish. And we just want to thank you so much, Breanna, for being here. And we're just thrilled that Lou is on the Redbud Award list for 2024.
Me too. And thank you both so much.
Breanna Carzoo, she, I thought when we were going to be interviewing her that she had just had Lou. And of course, you mentioned that she had 2 other books, which were a surprise to me at the time. So she's been busy. That's pretty exciting.
Yes, great stuff from her. The Squish is coming out soon. Greenlight, another great book. And we're just thankful that she joined us. Upcoming podcasts, we're going to have Charlie Grandy and Jonathan Finsky and other great stuff. We're just thankful for everybody for listening and for sending in great feedback and helping us with our content. And we'd love to have you join us. If you're a librarian, you want to just hang out, chat, share a little bit with us, let us know. brownbrothersbooks@gmail.com.
And we would love your feedback. We would love for you to subscribe to our YouTube channel, subscribe to podcast, Apple Podcasts. That's it. It's good to see you, man.
Happy early Thanksgiving. We had Thanksgiving with our family today, and we hope you have great Thanksgiving with your families.
I'm going to go have a turkey-induced nice
Okay.
rest.
Yeah.
See ya.
See ya.